So tell me this. Is Rodgers a Jet yet?
Technically, no. But in his mind, yes.
Spiritually, is what you're saying. Spiritually, he's a Jet.
He's a very spiritual man.
He is.
And he is spiritually a Jet.
He is indeed a spiritual man. Man, what a weird dude.
Very weird dude. He went on the Pat McAfee show.
Based.
He said he came out of his darkness retreat.
Okay.
Pretty much ready to retire.
Oh.
And then he heard that the Packers front office was kind of shopping him.
That's not where I thought you. That's not where I thought you were about to say. When you said he heard, I thought you were gonna say he heard a voice of God or something, or a spirit. Sorry, he's an atheist of spirits.
I don't know, dude. He's fucking weird ass dude. He might have heard a spirit and he just didn't say it in the interview.
Solid point. All right, sorry, go ahead.
But so he was intending to retire. Then he heard that Green Bay was like shopping him around without telling him.
That's kind of shitty.
Like, oh, all right, fuck these guys. I'm gonna play again, and not for them.
Oh, the spite move.
Yeah, classic spite move. He was ready to retire, but they did him dirty, so now he's gonna go play somewhere else. And apparently, his landing choice is the Jets. So he's ready to be traded to the Jets. He wants to play for the Jets. The Jets want him, and it's just kind of a Green Bay trying to milk the trade, despite not really having any leverage in the trade.
God, man, I kind of hate Green Bay now, honestly, a little bit. Like, obviously, never really liked them per se, but it's kind of scummy.
I think it's a lot to do with their like weird board ownership status instead of one single person, and like they end up fucking over a lot of players or something like that.
That tracks, honestly. So, when do you think we will hear something?
I mean, everyone knows it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. And I don't really know. I guess it's whenever Green Bay gets their head out of their ass. I would say it's going to happen before the day they have to start paying Rodgers.
Which is...
That's a great question.
That is a great question. Okay.
I want to say May.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Well, that's not the only big move we had this week. Why don't you run it down real quick?
I mean, so free agency started this week. Lots of moves around the league. Mainly going to cover the quarterback moves because there are about 8,000 different players.
Yeah, and I mean, nobody gives a shit what the right tackle moved.
Right. So I'll start with quarterbacks still available. So Lamar Jackson is technically available. Carson Wentz is available. I mean, he kind of sucks though, so maybe just take the L or something.
True.
Matt Ryan is available. The Colts cut him this week.
Yeah, but let's be real here.
Yeah.
That's about it for like. He's got to be older than me.
Pushing forward.
He has to be.
37.
Yeah, well, I thought he was older than that, honestly. But all right, yeah.
He's an old 37.
That's true. He's just always kind of had that look. He looks like he wants to cry all the time, which, given his quarterback play.
I mean, given his whole Super Bowl loss, yeah.
Ooh, wasn't gonna do it to him, but you did. So
I will absolutely do that to the Falcons.
That shit, fuck the Falcons. Fuck the Dirty Birds. Go Saints.
And that's about it for the big name quarterbacks still available. And then our new signings this week, Jimmy G is a Raider.
Now that's a little wild to me. Like
it is definitely wild.
I understand the logic behind it. It's kind of it's unlucky for him, I think the word would be, because like, you know, he did really well from the Niners. He did well by them, obviously, because they kind of, you know, he wasn't the one they wanted at all. You know, they were all in on this Trey Lance thing, but Trey Lance get hurt like 15 minutes into the season. Jimmy G has to step up and be the guy, right? And then he gets hurt
after basically not being told he wasn't the guy anymore.
Oh yeah, and then he gets hurt, and from then it's like, all right, well, now we're just gonna coast till next season. We see what happens. Who knew the third string quarterback was actually the best guy on the whole damn team? So, you know, now they didn't want you in the first place. They sure as shit don't want you now. So that's kind of a rough deal for Jimmy G. And I mean, the Raiders aren't the worst team in the NFL. They're
not.
bottom
And
5, but
he
they're
does
not
have
the
history
worst.
with their coach Josh
That's
McDaniels.
true. We talked about that before, yeah. So yeah, it's not the worst thing could happen to him, but you just honestly kind of feel sorry for the guy, honestly, a little bit, because I mean, but then again, it's San Francisco. Like nothing good happens there,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, he was the quarterback for San Francisco for a long time. Took them pretty deep in the playoffs many times.
Yeah,
They
and
kind of ran him off for someone who was very questionable.
I was about to say, like, and what respect did he get out of it? None. So fuck San Francisco.
Agreed. And we have Taylor Heineke, XFL legend. He's now a Falcon.
Yeah, I can see that. I think he'll actually do well at the Falcons, honestly, because he's not a bad quarterback. He's just a little inconsistent. But
Right, and he's competing with Desmond Ridder for the starting spot now, so shouldn't be too hard to get.
Yeah, I think he's got that one locked up. Ugh.
And, the Panthers picked up the Red Rocket, Andy Dalton.
Now that is depressing.
But the Panthers do have the number 1 overall pick, so he's probably just going to be the veteran.
Yeah, but at this point, he's like the consummate like backup quarterback in the entire league. So you got to kind of respect that position.
He's getting that bag every year.
He definitely is. Well, what's his contract?
$10 million, dude.
Ah, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, oh, boo-hoo. I get $10 million to just be the backup. Whoa.
Yeah. Of course, he has to live in Charlotte, which is not ideal, but
he is pretty close to the Smokies still.
That's true. And closer to me, so.
Then, since the Raiders moved on to Jimmy G, they traded Jarrett Stidham to the Broncos.
Wish they'd trade Jarrett Stidham to hell.
And base?
Well, you know his alma mater, of course.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Just making sure you understood that, Beef.
Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
Another long-time name.
Yeah.
He is now a Commander.
Okay.
And
I can see that.
competing with Sam Howell for the starting job.
Who?
Sam Howell.
Who?
Rookie. What school did he come out of? He came out of UNC.
Where?
He was a Tar Heel, bro.
You just made that person. This person doesn't exist.
Pretty much.
That's not a real person. North Carolina's not even a real state.
Based and true.
Yeah.
Then Mike White is now the backup for Tua.
Okay.
Which kinda I'd call that a good signing.
Yeah.
I feel like that's we're still all in on Tua. We picked up his 5th-year contract, but if we have another fucking disaster like this season, we'll have a better backup than we did.
Who was their backup?
They had old Teddy Two Gloves, who also got like concussion.
Yeah.
And then they had some like 7th round rookie that was awful. Skylar Thompson.
Oh, yeah.
And then PJ Walker is now on the Bears.
Yeah?
Yeah, another XFL legend.
I'm about to say, another guy getting that bag to essentially do nothing.
Yeah, $5 million.
Which is really great, Show out in the XFL, get into the NFL, really don't have to do much of anything.
Yep. Sam Darnold is now a 49er.
Ugh.
Just kind of a weird signing considering they have both Brock Purdy and Trey Lance, but
right.
They're only paying him $4.5 million.
Yeah, I'm guessing the intention there is like he's here if we have to. Because you gotta assume, like you said, Brock Purdy's the next guy up. He should be the guy up. But I mean, how much did they pay Trey Lance?
Well, Trey Lance is going into his 3rd year of his contract, so it's whatever the QB contract is for 3 years.
Mm-hmm. So you got to get your money worth on that one, I guess.
The last big name move is Baker Mayfield is now a Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I love that, by the way. I love that move.
Me
to be
too.
Quite honest, yeah. I don't know how it's going to look because obviously, as we said a lot during the season, like that team's problems wasn't really personnel. It was kind of the coach sucks, right?
Yeah.
And I just don't know how that's going to change until that guy gets like fired. So
And then the only other piece of NFL news I saw was the Washington Commanders sale is probably happening very soon.
Yeah, that seems like it's been
Yeah.
in the works for forever now.
It does, but if they want the new owner in before the league meetings, it has to happen soon.
Right.
And if Dan Snyder doesn't want to have to pay the yearly signing bonuses, he has
Right.
to sell it soon.
Is there any rumors on who might try and go in and pick it up?
The big name has always been Bezos, you know,
Ugh.
the Amazon money. But I don't think I've actually heard recent rumors about who's trying to buy it, so I guess we'll see.
Yeah. That'll be interesting. I feel like that's going to be one that's going to come out of nowhere. It's going to be like, what? Didn't even know they were a billionaire. It's gonna be like the fucking guy, like the guy that invented slap chop or something. I don't know.
Bates?
Who did invent slap chop? And is he a billionaire? And if he's not, why not? You got a slap chop?
I don't, but my mom did.
They're actually pretty useful. Like, to be perfectly honest.
I don't think it was like a name brand slap chop,
Yeah,
but it was
same.
essentially the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have like the original, you know, you're gonna love my nut slap chop, but I got one like a Kroger brand, and man, if you want some nice minced onions to go in, maybe say a glizzy, you break that son of a bitch out and go in on it.
Apparently, Vince Offer, the guy like starred in the commercials for like the ShamWow and the slap chop, was the creator of it.
No shit.
Apparently,
I thought he was just some con artist snake oil salesman. You're telling me this guy invented one of the greatest kitchen utensils of all fucking time?
Yeah.
No. Didn't he go to prison for like cocaine possession or something?
I don't know, but I'm also learning his real last name is Shlomi.
Okay. All right. Maybe we move on from that one.
Yep.
Maybe we move on from that one. Was that it for NFL, you said?
Yeah.
No college,
No,
but
he went to jail for beating up a prostitute.
Cocaine, beating up a prostitute. I get those mixed up because he was probably on cocaine. So
fair.
In college news, not football, but basketball, we've gone into March Madness. Round of 32 is this week. Your Tennessee Vols and my Alabama Crimson Tide both won their game and are advancing to the Sweet 16. We beat the absolute dog shit out of Maryland. I forgot who y'all played. Fucking like, you know, like
Duke.
Oh, on God?
Yep.
Wow, that's kind of impressive. Duke's a blue blood legacy team. That's a big win. So be keeping up with that. Obviously, you know, we are a basketball school now. And I just want to point out how depressing it will be if we win a basketball natty, but not a football. So whatever. That's the way it is, I suppose. So while I'm in a depressed mood, let's go ahead and talk a little XFL Thursday night game. You know,
it happened.
It had to happen at some point. It theoretically had to occur. No team can just win forever, I guess. It would have been nice, but
this was a rough way for it to happen.
Oh my God. Like, where do we even begin with this? This game was decent. Don't get me wrong. This game was decent. But watching it sucked. Like, all right, so where do we start? Let's start with this, all right? First off, big shout out to DiNucci. Like, just call him chef because he'd be cooking all the time. DiNucci, I think,
and
might
apparently cooking a bit to the other team as well.
But... Okay, well, you know, it's the XFL. You know, we play fast and loose. We play a little dirty with the ball, but I don't think I'm going very far when I say DiNucci might be the best quarterback in the XFL. Is that a low bar? Kinda, but you know, considering, I was gonna say considering you know the level of talent, but I mean, fuck off.
I will say I do have a potential new candidate for best quarterback in the XFL, but we'll get into that in the later.
Okay, all right, we'll talk about that in a minute. Sorry, let me pull up. I had to turn off the desktop sounds because I'm playing WoW. So, right. So this game was just fucking turnover central. All right. And you told me last night while we were talking, DiNucci 17 for 32, 209 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. And of the 4 turnovers that Seattle had, you informed me he was all 4 because he also fumbled it as well as throwing 3 interceptions. Was that correct?
The fumble was the Houston's roughneck quarterback that fumbled.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not a lot better. That's not a lot better.
DiNucci was solid on the ground, 4 carries, 33 yards, and a touchdown. No fumbles out of DiNucci.
Okay.
Just 3 picks from him.
Now, were these picks where it's like, oh yeah, that's like blatantly your fault, or was it one of those things where it's like, maybe your man, running the wrong route, maybe something gets a little tipped, or did he just straight up throw it to a guy in another jersey?
Some of them were real nice plays out of the Roughnecks.
Oh, okay.
Like, it was going to one guy, but my man just came out of the left field and yoinked it out of the air, kind of deal,
Yeah, and that's what's real frustrating about this is like the Houston's defense, who last week I said when they played the Guardians, I said, if you play against that, how you played against the Guardians I said the defenders, obviously, because that's next Monday night. We'll talk about that in a little bit. If you play against the defenders, you're going to lose. I kind of looked over the Sea Dragons. I didn't expect that that very scenario would happen, less than a week later. But it is. I mean, I thought it was going to be the defense that let him down, but ironically it wasn't. They turned it over 4 times, and how many times they capitalize on it? None?
Once.
That's pathetic. That's utterly pathetic.
Their first touchdown in the 4th quarter came off a fumble.
Jeez Louise. Yeah, I mean, that, like, and those 14 points were all in the 4th quarter. Literally just score once any other quarter, and you at least tie it, and then you make it into something. I will shout out Silvers, man. This dude's just slinging it. 25-47. He's not super accurate, but he's putting it up there. I've said for a while,
every single play.
Their receiver core is like not ideal. But, man, the Roughnecks, there's a lot of questions going on there now. I did see this. DiNucci and Josh Gordon were beefing a little after the game. Was that real? Did you see that?
I did not see that.
Let me look that up real quick.
Given what I know about Josh Gordon, I'm honestly not too shocked about that.
Mm-hmm. So let me pull up the news here. Yeah, so, all right. So, yeah, Bleacher Report. XFL fans clown Josh Gordon, Ben DiNucci for Seattle's QB appearing to want the wide receiver benched. Although the Seattle Sea Dragons hung on to hand the Houston Roughnecks their first loss, there was a clear disconnect between Seattle, the quarterback Ben DiNucci, and wide receiver Josh Gordon. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before. Like, Josh Gordon is just like the problem child of professional football. So,
yeah,
it's not... I never quite understood why he was so... okay, here we go. With Seattle leading 15-6 in the 4th quarter, DiNucci targeted Gordon on a go route, but Gordon appeared to stop running on the play, resulting in an interception. Well, that, I guess it answers one of my earlier questions. I feel like maybe that's harsh, but, I mean, I get you're frustrated because that's your 3rd int of the night. But I feel like maybe lashing out at one of your wide receivers, arguably your best wide receiver, is not the play. So that's kind of some weird drama going on in the XFL.
Is Josh Gordon even his best wide receiver over like Pearson or whatever?
I think if we talk raw talent, yes. The problem is, how often does Josh Gordon actually tap into that raw talent?
Right.
Fairly rarely. So I guess when we talk actual like statistics, yeah, Pearson might be the guy.
Josh Gordon is, in terms of yardage at least, he is. That's receptions, not yard. He's 2nd. He's a good 130 yards behind Ja'Cory Pearson.
Right. So I guess in raw talent, I guess is the better thing to say. But yeah, I mean, if you look at this, I mean, speaking of, if you look at the stats of this game, like this honestly shouldn't have been what it was, right? It was very balanced, but those turnovers, man, like I think even if Houston hadn't turned it, I'm so frustrated, man. I hope they figure it out. I hope they take something from this and go, all right, we figured out we fucked up there. You know, obviously they're a very veteran coach in Wade Phillips. I feel like something comes of this. I feel like this is a big lesson. And honestly, I would much rather take an L to the Sea Dragons than the Defenders. So, do they figure it out by next Monday? I don't know. We will find out next Monday. Looking forward to that, honestly. So,
well, they've got a newfound talent from the Defenders to face next week, so good luck.
Oh yeah. Gonna talk about that now. Saturday afternoon. There was afternoon. Yeah, man, some late games. But you said that ends. That's over next week. These real late.
It's over
games?
this week.
Oh,
this
okay.
was,
Right.
I believe this was the last.
Okay, that's
real
good.
late game.
DC Defenders and the Battlehawks are once again still in St. Louis. I heard 35,000 in attendance. That's pretty good.
If you trust ESPN, there was 38,000 in attendance.
I don't, because I think that was the number from last week. I think they're wrong about it. I saw other sources that said 35. So, but maybe I don't know. I don't know. The point is, they're still doing real good, and as has been said like a lot, the reason the air quotes the NFL said no, you don't need a team in St. Louis. LA needs one, is because they couldn't support it, right? Because no one showed up for it, which was bullshit, right?
Yep.
So, fuck Roger Goodell, but this was a frustrating game, to be quite honest. This was a frustrating game. Obviously, St. Louis is kind of like, they started the season with that bullshit as like, oh, we're going to pull this out at the last minute. And they did a lot of times. But being at home for the past 2 weeks, it's like, they've really had that home field advantage. They've really felt it. McCarron's out there still looking pretty good. He's a lot like he was at Alabama, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he still has had to kind of be the guy. At Alabama, obviously, he was surrounded by tons of talent. Mark Ingram, Trent Richardson. Just fucking every position was A+. Here, I'm not even certain he technically has an offensive line, because every game I'm almost certain he has to run for more yards than he ran in his entire career at Alabama. He never had to run at Alabama ever. But honestly, to not be like a mobile quarterback, to be like one of the last generations of college quarterbacks, like before like the dual threat quarterback became like real in vogue, he's not bad, honestly, like at making the plays. In the fourth quarter, when they were mounting what was looking like maybe another come from behind victory, he was having to make some big fourth down plays on his legs. Unfortunately, that same play did end on him throwing an interception at the goal line, but it is what it is. Tamu, man, shout out to Tamu. Like, he really just doesn't even need to throw the ball. Like, this could be
not in this game.
No, I mean, this team could literally just be a run only, right? Bear Bryant could coach this team, because they are tearing it up on the ground. Like, listen to this: Abram Smith, 23 carries for 218 yards, averaging 9.5 a touch. Now, obviously, a lot of that is the St. Louis defense kind of being, what's the polite word? Porous.
He broke off 2 very long runs.
Yes, he did.
Touchdowns,
a long of 70. Yeah, that is absolutely nasty. It was fairly actually demoralizing for Seattle. I feel like not Seattle, St. Louis. I feel like St. Louis is one of those teams, like they're just not gonna figure it out this year. Like, playoffs, probably, especially not in the North Division with DC, who honestly could run the table. Houston's really the only thing standing in their way, and after this week, that's a giant question mark. So,
I mean, St. Louis is still second in the North, so.
But tied with Seattle, though.
That is true.
And honestly, Seattle is, I mean, interpersonal conflicts aside, Seattle is kind of the team that's looking a little bit more complete right now. And Contro, if St. Louis didn't have A.J. McCarron, we'd be putting them kind of in the same conversation as the Guardians and the Vipers. I'm just gonna put that out there. Yeah, no. So this isn't the year. They're gonna have to figure something out on that O-line. If you could protect McCarron and he wasn't forced to make those risky throws, this is a complete team. Defense probably got to figure it out as well too. So
yeah.
Oh man. Oh, we were excited for this one, weren't we? The Toilet Bowl, which ironically became, I think, is this the highest scoring game in the XFL so far? Not.
No, I'm pretty sure.
But close.
Well, what's math? Actually, it might be, yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy because the over-under for this was 42. It ended at, what, 38 or 68? So, shocker, the Guardians lost, although that first drive or two was extremely promising. Problem is they, then immediately shit the bed repeatedly. Now, here's what I'm shocked about. There was one total turnover in this entire game. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So, 35-32. A very close game. Now, obviously, Paxton Lynch was in for a little bit of this, but this was interesting. Quentin Dormady, who a couple of weeks ago, this was the guy, right?
This was the guy, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago. This is the jabroni who, got fired and cut because he was, selling the playbook to other teams, and then somehow that all got cleared up and he got back on the team. Now he's out there and he kind of is really good. 22 for 25, 256 yards, averaging a first down every throw. This guy's kind of nut. Now, obviously, because it's the Toilet Bowl, both these defenses not the greatest, because Orlando even made Luis Perez look good. 20 for 28, 269. Right. Also about 10 yards a throw for 3 touchdowns. So, maybe let's not read too much into it, but this Quentin Dormady guy, there might be something there.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Paxton Lynch balding and kind of sucked.
Where did... Oh, he played for Tennessee. But then he transferred to Houston, then Central Michigan. So, what a career. Huh.
Interesting.
I don't remember him at Tennessee, at all. 2017. I don't remember that. Weird. Anyway, this game was actually not bad because it's so explosive. But watching it was like it was kind of like watching it's kind of like watching Big 12 football, honestly. Just fuck the defense, let's just slang. And you kind of like to see that because everything's been so low scoring so far that it was kind of nice to just see an absolute barn burner. But Orlando still easily the worst team in the XFL. I don't see this changing. I don't have their schedule in front of me, but if you can't beat the Vipers, there's nobody you can beat. Does Quentin Dormady maybe give him a chance though?
I gotta say, we'll get into them in the next game, but I feel like if there's anyone they can beat, and yes, they've lost them already, but I feel like they can beat the current Brahmas.
Yeah. All right. So this was the game that just ended, obviously. Again, just like the St. Louis game, this one ended on a really disappointing interception. Hines Ward, he doesn't come back next year, right? There's no way.
No.
He looks like he just wants to commit unalive every time they show him. I just swear he's crying because he's like, I can't. He's like, I'm a Hall of Famer. Why am I here? It's embarrassing. The Brahmas.
These people suck.
These people suck. Yeah. So Renegades, who started the season as one of the favorites, are kind of mid, kind of heavily mid.
Extremely. I think we said last week this was going to be a big statement game for both of these teams, and it turned out that they both kind of showed up and sucked.
Yeah, the statement was that we suck. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was this was going to determine if they were really shit or if they weren't really shit, and it turns out they're both really shit.
Yeah, they're both just garbage. Yeah, okay, it's a little late, whatever, but that's not an excuse, I don't think. So, Kyle Slaughter is really a mid quarterback, even for the XFL. Jake, all three of these quarterbacks, Arlington with Slaughter, and then Reed Sinnott. That's not a real person. On it, like that's fucking like, you know those like old Japanese baseball games from like the 90s where they would make up American names? That's like one of those. That's not a real person.
Well, he played at San Diego, so that's
not a real town. So, oh, he was with the Dolphins at one point apparently, huh? And the Eagles. Dude, no, this guy's made up. They just like this.
I can see why he's playing for the XFL.
This guy's fucking made up. I mean, he wasn't terrible. 13 for 19, 97 yards. I think he only got to play like half the time. I don't know which happened. I don't know if he started and then Cone replaced him. Oh, okay. Well, apparently halfway through they went, fuck it, we're not winning with him. Let's try Jake Cone. And then Jake Cone threw 2 interceptions.
Yep.
Jeez.
Not any better.
Jake Cone does have some legs though, a little bit. Kind of. But better than Reed. But God, these two teams are they're so bad. They're just so bad. Like nothing about I don't even remember a lot of this game because it was just like so forgettable. Yeah, it was just so forgettable. Like even when they made touchdowns, I was like, oh, finally. I don't even think, well, I'm looking at the numbers. I guess, you know, Arlington didn't even make any point afters. Just touchdowns? What? Jesus, this is depressing. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Both these teams suck so bad. Like they're just so bad. Like the Guardians, at least you almost feel sorry for them because they're like the Bears of the XFL. But these other two teams, it's like watching expansion teams or something. It's like you should be better, but you're not. So I know, fuck both these teams. Week 6 though. Maybe some promise there. One promise of week 6, though, get this, will beat 2020 for still being a league that exists.
Yup.
Yep, because it got canceled in week 5. Man, it's hard to believe that was 3 years ago. Actually, it's not. That feels like 14,000 years ago. Literally, it's like, I feel like both world wars happened. Fucking fall of Rome, Jesus Christ, freaking, I don't know, Neanderthals. And then 2020, you know what I mean? It actually feels like a legitimately long time. So, thank God, no Thursdays this week. We've got, and these are all on actual channels too. Well, fuck, one of them's on FX. God dang it. Saturday we got, oh God, Sea Dragons and the Guardians. I mean, Danucci's just gonna shred them to pieces. Honestly, he could maybe score 50 points.
Maybe, but then again, if like he's beefing with his receivers.
Well, it seems to only be Josh Gordon he's beefing with, and I think he was just frustrated.
Quentin Dormandy comes out and like says, "Here's my cock."
Maybe, but I doubt it because unfortunately there's so many more problems with the Guardians other than the quarterback that like maybe they keep them in it score wise, but Danucci is just going to donkey dick their defense, just no question. So that's
certainly
actually
that the defense from this week shows up.
Oh, most certainly. That's actually noon on ABC. Oh, thank God. Oh my, you don't know how good that sounds to me. A middle, like afternoon game. XFL. Thank God. No more like 4 a.m. We're so back, dude. We're so back. 6 p.m. on FX. Ugh, at Cashman Field. Ugh. Battlehawks and the Vipers. I'm really hoping AJ and the squad can bounce back after this one. Ideally, they can. Battlehawks defense is not great, but they're not Guardians bad, so I'm going to think Luis Perez has a bad day. Win this one. Oh, I think they do. Luis Perez kind of sucks, and it took the Guardians defense to make him look like decent. So I don't know. I think you referred to this as his like Spencer Rattler against Tennessee moment this weekend.
Yeah, this weekend. So like kind of the shredding the defense that didn't show up.
Yeah. So maybe we'll see. That's definitely kind of a direction of see which way your teams are going. Sunday at 2 p.m. on ABC again. Very nice. Nice to see all these network games. That's great for the league.
I think a lot of it was like college basketball and whatnot.
Could be. And I will say, unfortunately, the Thursday night game was on ESPN2. And yes, it was competing against a lot of like college basketball and stuff. but I think it only did like 145,000 viewers, which is not good. I mean, it was like 45th of 125 programs on during that time. Well, it was not good.
The problem was also it was like it started at like 11 o'clock or something.
Yeah, it wasn't great, but you know, that's a little worrying, but ratings for everything else have been good. In-person attendance has been very steady for most games, I think. So, you know, the USL survived, and they had like 10 people in the stands for each game. So I think the XFL is going to be fine.
You bringing up the networks did remind me of something I want to talk about. So the Renegades Brahmas game tonight, it like wasn't on the networks initially because
it was on ESPN2. Yeah,
it was on ESPN2, which when the game was supposed to start, there was women's college basketball.
Yeah, Princeton and Utah women's basketball. So
yeah, because that's definitely what people want to watch.
Well, it's playoff.
I don't care.
I know.
I don't care.
Yeah, okay. All right,
there were probably less people watching women's basketball than there were watching this game.
I'm going to say that they probably got a significant viewer boost because of people tuning in to watch the Brahmas.
Yeah. And anyway, so instead for like the first, I don't know, 2 drives, it was on ESPN News, which is a channel that exists apparently.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And out of nowhere, like a punt goes, it cuts to what I assume was commercials. And then I realized that I had spent like 3 minutes of them going back to whatever it was on originally, which was like, it was like people who built like race cars out of like mini race cars out of sandbelt grinders.
Yeah?
Or sanders. And it's like, they plug them into a cable and like run them down a track and they go and like, the fastest one to unplug the cable is the winner. I was like,
yeah?
What the fuck am I watching?
Hold on, that sounds pretty cool. That sounds pretty cool. I mean, not compared to XFL, but that still sounds pretty cool, honestly.
I just got so confused by what just happened to my football.
And then so they didn't even like give you a heads up like, hey, we're switching back over to ESPN2.
They might have said it, but I wasn't paying attention.
Oh,
and
okay.
I thought it was commercials for like a solid minute. I'm like, what is this commercial? This isn't a commercial. Oh no.
That's hilarious. ESPN, like when you get into like the belly of the beast on ESPN, they have some wild shit on sometimes. Like they have like those like face slapping competitions. They have like, oh God, they love having cornhole competitions. I see that on ESPN all the time at like 2 a.m. They've got some crazy ass shit on ESPN. They got to fill it with something, you know? So,
yeah, they are called belt sander races.
I'm gonna have to actually look into that. That actually sounds kind of lit. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, Sunday, also on ESPN. We have a rubber match. Brahmas and the Renegades again. This time in Arlington instead of San Antonio, where the hell they play. I don't think the Brahmas are gonna. I mean, maybe it was a very close game. You know, maybe the rubber match. You know, defeat's still on their mind. Shame is fresh. Maybe, but you know, Hines Ward, if he can keep himself alive through the depression of having to win the coach this team, maybe, I don't know. And then Monday, ESPN2, 6 p.m. Gonna coincide with Raw a little bit, but that's fine. That's actually fine because Raw's gotten pretty boring lately. I'm kind of just ready for WrestleMania. Yeah. The Roughnecks, who are now unfortunately 4-0. I was really excited this to be a battle of the unbeatens, but no. Thanks, Ben DiNucci.
Hey, you let us down.
Yeah, you let us down. Brandon Silvers. What the hell your name is? Wade Phillips. It's not even a real name. Roughnecks and the Defenders in DC. Expect the mother of all beer snakes for this one, boys. Now, I just don't know about this one anymore. I used to. I thought I knew. I was like, my Roughnecks, baby.
Jimmy the Defender.
I think I have to agree. Honestly, I mean,
right now they are a proven product. The Roughnecks have not looked great the last.
It's a long week to prepare. Yes, Thursday to Monday. Next Monday, big week. More than a week to prepare. There's so many questions that came up in that game for the Roughnecks that I just don't know if they get answered in that time. I hope, I pray, maybe. But I think you might be right. I think the Defenders might have this. The Defenders just, they really are the full package, like top to bottom, all facets of the game on and off the field. Solid fan base, solid fan culture, good on the field product, solid coaching, you know, both sides of the ball. The Defenders are pretty decent, and the Roughnecks, I just don't see it. So,
yep,
it pains me so deeply to say that, but it is what it is, unfortunately. So, yeah, as we said, WrestleMania is just a few weeks away. Quick wrestling word, I guess. Not much. Again, like these wrestling things, you know, coming into WrestleMania, you're not going to get much Monday and Friday, or Monday and Friday. Another name going into the Hall of Fame, the great Muda. I don't know if you know who the hell that is. Do you actually know who that is? Oh, okay. I was about to say, wow, that's some deep lore cuts. So he'll be going to the Hall of Fame, whoever the hell he is. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn finally made up, hugged it out in the middle of the ring. Love to see it. Knew it was coming, but you still love to see it. So yeah. Fuck the Usos. So, all right. That was about it. Unless you got something else you want to
add. Just this week's power ranking.
I always forget that. Yes, run it down.
All right, so we do have some movement this week.
Unfortunately.
Eternal bottom feeder, the Orlando Guardians, still down there at 8.
Right. And I wanted to make a point about that. Even if they had won, honestly, I don't think I would have moved them up. Like, I know, yes, but they are just
I think I would have
so
put
bad.
them over Vegas if they beat Vegas.
I don't know, man. Vegas has showed flashes of something. But Orlando, not a damn thing. So
I guess we'll see. 5 more weeks of the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
Down at 7, I have the 1-4 San Antonio Brahmas.
Woof.
They stink. They're bad. Yeah. They don't put up points,
and they're honestly getting worse every week, and that's not good.
The only team they looked good against was, shocker, the Orlando Guardians.
Yeah.
And then 6, Vegas Vipers finally got their first win.
Love to see it.
As you said, they've had flashes, and I think they have generally looked better than the Brahmas.
Mm-hmm.
At 5, I have the 3-2 Arlington Renegade. They're kind of shit, but they have 3 wins out of who knows.
And what's crazy about the Renegades is, like, you know, Bob Stoops, their head coach, like you expect more from him, you know? Yeah. And it's just not there. So
big market too, Arlington.
That's true.
And clocking in at 4, the Battlehawks. They got swept by the Defenders. But they're a decent team. They're probably gonna spend.
And I mean, they hung with them too. They hung.
They did. I think they were closer in the first game.
Yeah, true.
Then at 3, the Houston Roughnecks.
Wow. Fucked up. Damn.
But fucked up, but true. They're no longer undefeated.
I have to agree. Kind of like the Brahmas, they've kind of gone downhill the past few weeks.
They've gone downhill, and I don't think I could come out here with a straight face and put Seattle below them when they just whooped their ass.
No.
And so with that, in second, I have Seattle. Ben DiNucci, keep cooking it.
Yep.
And then, of course, the last remaining undefeated team, the DC Defenders, are on top.
But far and away, too. So,
yeah, I mean, that performance out of Abram Smith was something.
Yeah. I mean, I got to give it to them. I hate DC. Hate the Defenders.
Extremely same.
Yeah.
But you move that team to, like, a better state, and, like, they're instantly a fun, watchable team.
I'm just saying. Listen, can I give a pitch real quick for a city?
Go ahead.
Huge football culture, right? Huge stadium, right? Beautiful locale, great for tourism. I'm just saying,
Go on.
Defenders. It'd be Knoxville Defenders has a good ring to it.
Does it?
Not really. Like the Knoxville Mountaineers. That'd be better, I guess. I don't know. What I'm saying is get out of DC. It's a swamp.
It's a
hashtag drain the swamp. Leave. Go somewhere good. Preferably in the South. Hell, even Virginia, which is only marginally better, but it's not DC. So anyway, fuck the Defenders. Go Roughnecks. Damn it. We'll see next Monday, I guess. So.
Yep, that's beefy ball.
That's beefy ball. All right, well, see y'all later.
Later.